Okay, so we're going to work on groves today. It's July the 18th and all my pines are decandled and pretty much caught up in the nursery. And so now's a good time to do some work that is not real time sensitive, but it takes a little time. I really enjoy groves. This is a grove of seedling Sango Kaku coral bark, and in the winter the trunks turn bright red and the new stems will turn yellow. They're really eye-catching, amazing. And but if you don't do a few things with groves, they get to looking ugly pretty quick. And one of the problems is they end up with big knots in the trunks and they have no taper. And that's because of the way you prune them or don't prune them. So what you need to do is, maples are just like a lot of other trees, especially like pines have wheel branches and they get knots where there's 4 branches coming into the trunk. If a maple has too many shoots coming off of one spot, you'll have a tree that comes up and every time there's a bunch of branches, it'll have a knot in it and it won't have nice appealing taper. It won't have that feminine and delicate appearance that maples are famous for. So we're gonna work on this tree a little bit to make sure that it doesn't develop any of those bad habits. And we're gonna show you how to make sure you don't lose a tree from being shaded out in your grove. So break this down, work on it a little bit so you can see part of it. It's been worked on, and then we'll show you exactly what we're doing. Then we'll finish it and we'll talk a little more about maples. Okay, so we've done most of the trees in the grove. The purpose is to make sure that all the trees get their share of light and their share of space, and that the taper remains. We don't have trees with knots all over them. And maples will do that. They'll put out a ton of little buds when you prune them all in one spot, and so you got to clean them up. So we've got 2 trees left that need to be worked on. One of the things you need to think of when you're doing a grove is that you need to maintain taper, and you need to give each tree its share of the light. Think of it like a pie. When you slice a pie in 8 or 12 pieces, each one is going to have a little pie-shaped piece of the edge of the pan. So each tree needs to have its own little piece of the sunlight. This tree has its piece, and we'll keep the limbs on this side. This tree has its piece, we'll keep the limbs on this side. This tree has its piece, and its limbs are right here. This tree has this little spot of sunlight, and all its leaves and limbs are right there. This tree has its piece, and it's a little bigger because we got a thin one here, but with a really nice red trunk. So we want to leave room for it. And I need to take another limb or 2 out of this one. But this piece has its own share of the pie, like this one. So we've got 2 main trees that need to have the tops worked down. And remember that maples, like most trees, are apically dominant. It means they want to do most of their growing in the top. And so you're constantly pruning the top hard to keep taper and to not end up with a big knot and a big pom-pom. We're not into the pruning pom-poms, we're into bonsai, so we want them to look more or less natural. So we have to constantly be thinning the top on an apically dominant tree like maple. So we're gonna take this tree right here. It's got a big heavy fork in it, and it's gonna make this part real thick in here. So this one could be left because it's kind of facing out, but we're going to take it because it's heavy. And then on this side, in order to keep it from infringing on this tree, we're going to take some of the foliage limbs off on this side. See, so now you can see that these limbs are interfering with these trees over here, so we're going to take those off too. See, now we're getting down to a single leader, which is kind of what you want to go for. And this is nice. See, the buds are close together like that. It's going to help the taper. We're going to head this one back, and we're going to head this one back a little bit. And so that tree is pretty well taken care of. I don't like this limb because it's covering up this tree. And now we got to do this big tree over here, and it has the same issues. I hope you can see this. Charlie's trying to get pictures, but can you see all the branches in the top of that tree? And this is a center tree, so it's getting some light from all the way around. But if you leave that many branches, pretty soon it's going to lose its taper, and it lose its feminine appearance, and it's going to look ugly. So we're going to go in and we're going to cut the heaviest part out. And we're going to reduce the heavy limbs, and we're going to leave the small limbs. But we don't want to leave them bar branches like this. That'll make a knot, because there's another branch right here. So because this one's going this way, we're going to take this one and that one out. And this one's going that way too, down one, so we're going to take that one out. This one, there's two of them coming this way. That's okay for now, because you can see there's one here and one here. They're not coming out of the same spot. And now we got to look up in here. Well, see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 branches here in 1 inch. So we need to thin them. So what we're going to thin is the heaviest ones. Well, I just broke that one, so we won't need to thin. We're going to take that one out, and we're going to take this one out. And we're going to shorten this one back a little bit. Now we got to go over here to this one. It has the same issues. If you can see, give Charlie a chance to catch up here. You can see,
yeah, we're getting everything in.
You can see all those branches. So we have a branch here that's going this direction, and another one here that's going this direction. And because this one is above the other one, and this is an apically dominant tree, it wants to grow up here, we're going to try to push some growth down there. So we're going to take out that one. And then we're going to go up here and we're going to take out the other heavy one. This one, you can see how heavy it is compared to the others. And you can see I've cut it there before. We're going to take that one out. And then we're going to take a couple of the others out. And we're going to reduce the amount of food going into one spot on this tree so that it doesn't get too heavy in the top. And every time you cut, you got to look at what you did before, because it gets a little more clear. This tree now is obviously a little too big. We've got this right here, and we've got this tree that's going to be bigger, but it's also the biggest tree in the dish. So it can be bigger, but we want to take this one down a notch. So we're going to come in here and take another inch or so out of this one. Okay, so I'm going to clean up this stump over here a little bit. So now you see here what happens when you don't get around to it on time. See this big knot right here? That's because I didn't get to it 2.5 years ago. And then there's another knot right here. And if it gets real obnoxious, we may have to carve both of them. But I'm going to work on reducing that just a little bit before I give up today. And we're going to cut a good portion of that knot off. And this. Okay, so we still have 3 branches coming out from the same spot here. And so this one, they're all in an okay place. We'll leave that till winter and see what develops, which one wants to take off. Then I'll have a lot, because I've done this in the summer, I'll have a lot less work to do in the winter. And we're going to put this on the turntable and rotate it around. And while you're watching that, we're going to talk a little bit more about groves and how to make them, how to enjoy them. We'll be right back. So I'm going to show you a little something to keep an eye on. I've grown maples for 40 years, and every once in a while this particular springtime disease will jump up and bite you, even when you kind of know what to look for. Can you see the splotches on these leaves? They're discolored, and they're just splotchy all over. That's powdery mildew, and that affects maples pretty dramatically. It comes when the leaves are wet and there's no breeze blowing. dry, real humid conditions and very still, no breeze. We had an unusually wet late spring. We normally don't have a lot of moisture that late in the year, and it caught me sleeping. And so a lot of my maples this year are exhibiting signs of powdery mildew. It's not fatal if you take care of it, and a copper treatment will take care of it on the leaves. There's a lot of stuff out on the market for powdery mildew. Most of them are copper based, and you're gonna, once you get it in the summer, you need to apply it several times, and then when they're dormant, you need to find a dormant spray that has some copper and apply it, because the bacteria will live on the bark, and then the next spring everything should be fine.
And then you want to mention the pot head.
Okay, so we trimmed this tree up. It's not perfect. We've got another shot at it in the winter time. This is a Sarah Rayner pot that matches real good with the red and yellow. This tree is meant to be displayed in the late winter, when the trunks will all be orange and the twigs will all be bright yellow. And so that the color of the pot has some yellow and green, and matches this grove real well. Groves are a lot of fun, but they don't have to be exotic or difficult. We're going to stop this a second and put another one on the turntable that you might recognize and explain to you how you can do one for yourself. Okay, so this is a little grove I worked on yesterday. It's 2 years old as a grove. I bought from one of my friends this dish, and it was filled solid with little maple seedlings. And I took some out and made another grove, and I left these in here. One of the fun things you can do is buy you a little bonsai pot, doesn't have to be real expensive, and pick you some maple seeds and just plant them real thick. And you can always remove some. And if you don't have any real expertise about the placement of trees in a grove, you can do it over time. As these seeds will sprout and you start to develop your grove, you can cut them out here and there where there's too many or it's too thick, and you'll end up with something really nice, and it won't cost you hardly anything. The trick to getting maple seeds to sprout is to collect them in the fall, when the nuts on the little wings are brown and the leaves, the helicopter part, is still green. Then air dry them a little bit, rub the wings off, and store them until 90 days or so before your spring starts. Then mix them with some pumice or some lava, screened lava. Soak them overnight first, put them in damp lava, let it drain real good, and throw it in the fridge, and start watching it at about 60 days. And when you start to see the little roots, the first little roots appear, then if it's warm enough outside, it's your time to plant. You're going to have to learn to calculate how that works out. But if you wait too long, then all the roots will be, when you plant them, all the roots will be crooked and twisted. So you want to plant them when the very first ones start to sprout, and get them all to sprout in the ground. That way you get little straight little trunks and nice roots. So you don't have to be a genius. This has got, you'll have way more trees than you need, and when you get them in the wrong spot, every once in a while when you work on it, you can take one out until you like what you see. And that's a really nice way to develop a grove for next to nothing. Planting seedlings is easy, but it's a little more difficult. Okay, and I really enjoy this, and you'd be surprised how many people will want to copy what you're doing once they see how it comes out. Okay.
All right, guys, have a nice day. We're done for today, and we'll keep uploading more videos, and please subscribe so you get a notification as soon as we get a video to our channel, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you.